Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today I'm giving you my top 5 upcoming Yu-Gi-Oh decks that I'm super excited to play. Just the top 5 hype decks coming to the game in the next couple of months. This could be legacy support for an archetype that really gets a nice buff and something like that, or it could just be brand new archetypes. I think for where we are in Yu-Gi-Oh and what's coming, I think I have more brand new archetypes on this list than I do legacy support archetypes, but still, just keep in mind, this is my list. These are my top 5 archetypes I'm excited to mess around with. Feel free to let me know in the comment section down below what your top 5 things are, legacy or brand new. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on that, see what you guys are really excited for. It's just kind of what the channel is about. We do a lot of news videos talking about that, and as we push forward into Yu-Gi-Oh, not only do I love playing modern format, but also looking into the future and seeing and theorizing, getting hype for a lot of this new stuff that's coming as well. It's just me personally as a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh. So without further ado, let's get into this thing. Starting off here with one honorable mention, might as well. It's Horus. This one just barely missed the cut to me. To be honest, it just doesn't even feel like its own thing. It doesn't have a boss monster. It doesn't really, it has like a cool gimmick in it. I do think it is a strong engine, but to me, this is just one of those engines that's just going to be kind of splashed all over Yu-Gi-Oh at some point, and it's just going to be an engine that's like, this just throws a bunch of bodies on the field. Now, if in Phantom Nightmare they get a second wave and it feels like it really fleshes them out into a full-on Horus archetype, I might be more interested in them. But for right now, it just feels like a generic plop a bunch of bodies on the field kind of engine, and that just kind of feels a little flavorless to me. I want to see them actually have, like, go forward and kind of flesh them out a little more instead of just being like a crazy extending package. So that's why they kind of just barely missed the cut, but I do have some decks that I do plan on maybe scooping these cards and messing around with, so I didn't want to exclude them entirely. Officially, number 5 on the list, Memento. Cool archetype, really cool theme. I cannot say this enough. As much as I've kind of, I want to say even poo-pooed this archetype a little bit when it came out. I know some people were not in total agreement with me when I said that, like, the archetype seems like it's pretty poo because if you just do not set up the dragon, your deck does like shit all for the most part. And I still kind of rest on that. But of course, the theme of this archetype is so cool. Taking old classic vanillas that we remember and love from like way old Yu-Gi-Oh and giving them like a second chance to like be in an archetype that could, at the very least be rogue maybe, is really cool. I mean, we're looking at a Dark Blade retrain and so much more. It's just really cool. So thematically, I love it. I actually don't even hate the playstyle because it does seem to actually be more of a control style, but the deck needs some tools. I think we're going to need some good support in the next coming core sets to kind of get them to a point where they can way more easily access their big guy, because that's really what it's going to come down to. But if they can get there, then this definitely could step forward as one of the better rogue decks in the game, for sure. It's just not there yet. Next up, Fire Kings. I've always thought Fire Kings were cool. They had a really cool design. The downside to them, I would say, is that they kind of hit me as worse Unchained. Unchained can, like, all the Unchained monsters float on like card destruction or battle, whereas this deck only floats on just card destruction, so like that's a problem. But I'm not gonna lie, this wave of support is pretty nasty, and we're still missing one card. I think they're already like an interesting rogue deck going forward, but they are going to be very matchup dependent. But as long as the last card is like also solid and kind of helps fill the gap of allowing them to search spells and traps in their archetype, then I do think the deck could actually be really interesting. They're cool. And I'm not going to lie, I'm probably going to pick up the structure deck. I'm going to roll with them, mess around with them a little bit. You know, hopefully they don't hit me too hard as just like in terms of how they feel to play. Like, oh, I'm just playing bad Unchained. You know what? I'm just going to go back to Unchained. This is just worse Unchained. Hopefully it's different enough and flavorful enough to kind of keep that going, but I am still excited to mess with them. So, number 4 on the list. Number 3 on the list, Snake Eye. Now, this one, I know I kind of poo-poo Memento for not feeling like they're there yet, But that's kind of because I feel like Memento needs like a very specific type of support, and that's just helping you get to the dragon much easier. If they get more support, but it's not helping you get to the dragon, then I think that's still kind of an issue. Whereas Snake Eye, I think, has such a great start to it. They just need to capitalize on it. They just need something. They just need like a power play. It feels like they don't have a power play yet, but their engine is all there. They've got a Rhoda. They've got an emergency teleport card. They've got an extender that allows you to like quick turbo into the other guys on the opponent's turn. They've got a boss monster with a pretty solid removal effect. They just don't have the interruption yet. So if they give them a power play, which I just feels like is more of a broad like spectrum than what we're looking for from Memento, which feels more specific, I think this deck is really cool. Not to mention the DML Star engine obviously like plops in here so cleanly. It's a really cool archetype. I really think it's set up nicely. I'm expecting post Phantom Nightmare with a second wave for this archetype. Even if it's only a couple cards, it doesn't need much. It just needs something it can set up going first. And we are in there because the deck already feels like it can go second. With some potential. So really like this archetype. Cannot wait to mess around with it. I love their designs. They look super, super sick. Yeah, really cool, honestly. It's just such a cool archetype. Number 2, DML Star. You knew this was going to be on here. You know, this is one of those where I look at it and I'm like, man, I think I'm so excited for this new archetype. But then it's going to come out. It's probably going to be really expensive. Everybody and their mother is going to be playing it. But I'm still excited for it. There's something as far as a deck builder in me that when I see an archetype like this, it's very clean. I mean, this is an engine where, I mean, you look at something like the Invoked engine in the past, you never really want to draw Invocation by itself. So like Invocation was a big brick. This engine is 3 starters, 1 or 2 of this girl, which is also a starter, and then depending on the deck you're playing it in, maybe 1 interruption card, or if it's something like in Splashing and Rescue Ace or Snake Eye, you're playing the 1 copy of the card that just summons a level 1 fire from deck, which by the way, also a starter. So you just play 6 starters. There is no brick to this engine for the most part. If you are going to go greedy and play some of those interrupted cards, that changes things, but for the most part, this engine is just really clean to me. It's a very satisfying engine. I plan on using it in a couple different decks. I'm already theorizing a couple of decks to play it in. It's cool. There's not much else to say about it. It's good. It's going to see play. It's very clean. It's just so versatile, right? It can get you access to certain engines. It gets you an Omni Negate if you want it on the field. It gets you a mass removal effect if you want it. There's just a lot it offers. And it recurs, so it also helps you in the grind. So it's a really good engine. I'm excited to use it. And lastly, Centurion. I don't want to toot my horn too hard, but before this archetype came out, when we saw Memento and we saw Valmonica, by the way, sorry Valmonica fans, they just feel like they're by far the worst of the 3 so far. We'll see. They need something insane. Maybe they'll get it, but they're not there yet. And when I saw those, I said, Centurion, it's going to be it. It's going to be the it archetype from this deck build pack, and 100% it is. I had a lot of people kind of poo-pooing it in the comments of the video I made on it when I made my first news video on it. I think a lot of people are not understanding the full scope of this archetype. The fact that it grinds so insanely well. It has 1-card combos that play like... I don't think it plays through Ash with the 1-card combo, but it grinds through Ash because like you don't do anything through Ash, but you end with like still guys in your back row, or at least one of them in your back row, and that just means you have like a grind. You just have a grind already, which is insane. Like off of 1 card, like you're supposed to trade 1 for 1, but we still have value into further turns. You do like you can like Calamities lock under Nib. Under Nib and 4 summons, which is crazy. I hope Calamity is banned by that point, so this deck can't rely on that as like, kind of like how Virtual World was able to rely on their Calamities. So hopefully that's not there at that point, but I do think this archetype has really strong potential, and we're still missing 1 card. We're still missing a spell, and they're obviously going to get support in the next core set or 2. I think the sky's the limit for this archetype. They are locked to a degree with making it so they can only be, each name can only be special summoned once per turn. So that does relatively keep the ceiling of the deck low. But I think the ceiling of the deck is more so the grind than like the insane turn 1 boards you make. The fact that you can like do some stuff turn 1 and then just do it all in your opponent's turn again, and then you still grind like onto your turn, like on the next turn as well. It's really, really something to look forward to. I think this deck's really cool. I hope you guys are looking forward to it like I am. I hope the new spell is good. This to me is kind of like DML Star, where like I'm kind of scared that this is going to be the next best deck, and so it's going to be expensive. It's going to be all over the place. It's going to make me want to play it less because like everybody's going to be ready for it. I'm almost hoping the final card is like just okay, like a nice utility card for them, but doesn't like push them over the top. That way, maybe it's just like a rogue deck and not a full-on like top like the new best deck in the game kind of scenario. But obviously, we'll have to wait and see. But really, really cool deck. Very excited to mess around with it. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. Those are my top 5 archetypes I'm very excited to mess with going forward into the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! In a couple weeks, we should be starting up with like Phantom Nightmare reveals, and we should be getting like the last 2 cards for Valmonica and Centurion, so some stuff could definitely adjust there. Fire Kings are going to get their last card. So we have some stuff coming up, but this felt like a good break to kind of like talk about this right now before we jump into a whole new cycle of news and everything like that. But that's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one down the line. Like I said at the beginning, let me know your top 5 list in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.